In the heart of Umokoro, a village known for its thick forest, red earth, and age-old traditions, lived a man named Ikena. He was one of the wealthiest farmers in the village. His barns were always full, his granaries overflowed with yams, and he had plenty of goats and cows. Ikena was admired by many for his success, but those who truly knew him understood that his wealth did not reflect the condition of his heart. Ikena had 2 wives. His first wife, Ife, was from the western part of the country. She was quiet, hardworking, and full of wisdom. She bore him a beautiful daughter named Amora. His second wife, Neka, was from his village. She had a cunning, selfish heart and was known for her sharp tongue. She gave birth to 2 daughters, Obianuju and Ifeoma, and a son named Chikamso. Although both women lived within the same compound, they were treated very differently. Ikena adored Neka. He sang her praises every chance he got and ensured she never lacked anything. Gold earrings, new wrappers, special dishes, she always had the best. But Ife, the first wife, was not so lucky. Despite her kind heart and relentless efforts on the farm and at home, Ikena treated her with disdain. Perhaps it was because of her accent, or because she wasn't from his tribe. Maybe he just never loved her. Either way, he treated her like an outsider in her own home. Ife and Amora lived quietly in a small mud hut at the back of the compound, away from the main house. Ife had no close friends in the village. She spent most of her time playing the talking drum, a precious gift from her late father. The drum was more than just an instrument, it was her source of joy, her voice, and her only companion in loneliness. She taught Amora how to play, and in the quiet of the evenings, mother and daughter would sit together under the mango tree, singing and beating the drum to chase away their sorrow. Years passed, and the children grew. Amora blossomed into a stunning young girl. Her eyes were gentle, her heart pure, and her hands hardworking. She inherited her mother's calm spirit and deep wisdom. But the pain of being unloved in her own father's house followed her like a shadow. Then one rainy season, Ife fell terribly ill. Her once vibrant body weakened. Her eyes lost their shine. Amora ran to her father, panic in her voice. "Papa, Mama is very sick. She needs help." But Ikena only frowned. "Let her rest. Maybe it's her time." That was all he said. No concern. No help. Neka, on the other hand, ignored her completely. Not a single herbal remedy, not a drop of water or a word of kindness. Amora, still a teenager, tried her best, fetching herbs, cooking warm food, fanning her mother's weak body. But the sickness got worse. One cold morning, as rain fell softly on their leaking roof, Ife took her last breath, holding Amora's hand. "My daughter, never let this word harden your heart. Keep beating your drum," she whispered before her eyes closed forever. Amora screamed and wept uncontrollably, but no one came to comfort her. Her mother was buried like a stranger. No proper farewell, no mourning. Just a shallow grave behind the compound. And then life moved on, at least for everyone else. From that day, Amora became a slave in her own father's house. Neka and her daughters turned her into their house help. She cooked, cleaned, fetched firewood, fetched water from the stream, and ran endless errands. She was always the last to eat, sometimes, she wasn't given food at all. Her father watched silently, never offering a hand or a word of comfort. Amora was invisible to him. Yet, she never complained. She did every task with quiet grace. Her only escape was her mother's talking drum, which she kept hidden under her mat. At night, when the house was silent, she would sneak out to the backyard, sit under the stars, and play softly, singing songs that only the wind could hear. Her stepsisters mocked her. "You think you're special because of one stupid drum?" Ifeoma would sneer. "Play all you want. That drum won't bring your useless mother back," Obianuju would laugh. One day, a wealthy farmer named Okafor from a neighboring village came to Ikena's compound. He had heard tales of a beautiful and hardworking girl named Amora. He came bearing gifts, tubers of yam, gallons of palm oil, and 2 healthy goats. He bowed respectfully and said, "I have come to ask for Amora's hand in marriage." Ikena looked pleased and was about to speak when Nneka stepped forward quickly. "Amora. Mary. Who will do the housework if she leaves? This girl is not ready for marriage," she said sharply. Ikena nodded. "Yes, come back another time. She's still needed here." Okafor left disappointed. Amora, who had been standing quietly behind the door, heard everything. That night, she lay on her mat, clutching her mother's drum, and cried until her chest hurt. One hot afternoon, Nneka sent Amora to clear a large portion of the farmland, alone. The sun was harsh, and the land was vast. Her hands ached, her back burned, but she kept walking. Suddenly, a woman appeared. She had kind eyes, a gentle smile, and wore a simple white wrapper. "Let me help you," the woman said. Amora stepped back. "No, thank you, Mo. I can do it myself." "I insist," the woman replied, picking up a hoe. To Amora's amazement, the woman walked faster than any human she had ever seen. In no time, the field was clean. "Thank you so much, Mo," Amora said, panting. "You're welcome, my child. I've been watching you. You are strong, kind, and patient. Never lose that." "But, who are you?" "I don't know you," Amora asked. The woman smiled gently. "I live in the forest. I have no family, but I've been watching over you for a long time. You remind me of someone I once loved." That was not the first time Amora had seen her. Over the months, the mysterious woman would appear during Amora's hardest days, sometimes with food, sometimes just with a comforting word or helping hand. She never shared her name, but her presence always brought peace. One day, the prince of the land, Obina, returned from the city. He had been studying abroad for many years. The king, his father, organized a grand celebration to welcome him. There was music, food, dancing, and a call for everyone in the village to attend. Nneka dressed her daughters in the finest clothes she could afford. Their hair was neatly plaited into elegant styles adorned with colorful beads that clinked as they moved. The girls looked radiant, ready for the grand celebration at the palace. Before leaving, Nneka turned to Amora, with a cold expression, and dropped a bundle of firewood at her feet. "Split this firewood before we return," she commanded sternly. "And listen carefully, if I see you anywhere near the palace, you will regret the day you were born." Amora looked at her, heart sinking. She turned to her father, who stood quietly at the corner of the compound, but he simply looked away, avoiding her gaze as if she were invisible. Tears spilled from Amora's eyes as she carried the axe to the backyard. Her hands trembled. Every strike on the wood sent pain shooting up her arms. Her palms blistered, blood mingling with her sweat. She was weak, but she didn't stop until a gentle voice broke the silence. "My child, rest." Amora looked up. It was the woman again, the same mysterious woman who had helped her before. This time, she was carrying a basket filled with food. "Eat something," the woman said, placing the basket beside her. "I'll find someone to help you." Amora looked at her, puzzled. "But, how do you know where I live?" she asked. The woman smiled softly. "I know all I need to know." Though confused, Amora obeyed. She sat beneath the tree, ate the food quickly, and rested for a while. When she finally returned to the pile of firewood, she froze. Everything had been split, neatly and perfectly. She looked around in shock. No one was in sight. Her heart pounded in wonder and disbelief. Meanwhile, at the palace, the king stood in front of the royal court and addressed the people gathered. His voice was strong and clear. "My son is ready to choose a wife," he declared. "In 2 weeks, all the maidens in the land shall gather here. They will display their talents before the prince. He is a lover of music and dance. He shall choose the one who entertains him best." The news spread like wildfire across the kingdom. Young maidens rushed to learn new songs, dances, and performances. Hope bloomed in many hearts, especially in Neko's. She quickly hired a professional dancer to train her daughters. She bought them new wrappers, shiny beads, and even matching anklets. She ensured they had the best routines prepared for the grand contest. Amora heard the news and her heart ached with longing. She had always loved music, especially the talking drum her late mother had left her. Her mother had taught her how to play it, how to sing with soul, and how to connect with the rhythm of the drum. One quiet evening, while Neka and her daughters were away, Amora sneaked into her mother's hut and brought out the treasured drum. She began to play and sing, her voice soft but filled with passion. But one day, Neka caught her. "What nonsense is this?" she barked. "Are you seriously practicing so you can join the other maidens at the palace? Do you think the prince will even look at you twice? Are you not ashamed?" She yanked the drum from Amora's hands and hurled it to the ground. Then, with a wicked glint in her eyes, she grabbed kerosene and matches and set the drum on fire. "No. Please. That was my mother's." Amora cried out, trying desperately to quench the flames. "Please. That drum is all I have left of her." But Neka shoved her aside and watched the drum burn to ashes. "You're nothing but a disgrace," she spat. "Instead of wasting time, go to the farm and clear the entire weed. If you don't finish before nightfall, I will personally send you to join your dead mother in the grave." Amora dragged her feet to the farm, crushed and broken. She stared at the weeds, but all she could do was cry. The pain in her chest felt unbearable, like something inside her was dying. Suddenly, the woman appeared again. This time, she held a brand new talking drum in her hands. Amora's eyes widened. How did you know?" "I saw what happened," the woman replied gently. "Take this. Come here every day and practice. Hide the drum here, no one must see it. The prince has a special love for the talking drum. And you, my child, are the only one who can play it the way he likes." Amora blinked in disbelief. Why are you helping me?" she asked, voice trembling. The woman smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Because you are hardworking. And because you must shine." 2 weeks later, the day of the performance finally arrived. Neko dressed her daughters like royalty. Their outfits sparkled. Their skin glowed. Their hair was adorned with fresh beads. Meanwhile, she handed Amora a large bowl of palm kernels. "Break all of them before I return," she ordered. "And don't even think of stepping a foot near the palace." Amora tried to plead. "Please. I want to go too. I have something to offer. Just one chance." Before she could finish, her stepsister Ifioma burst out laughing. "What talent do you have? Is it this rag you're wearing that you want to show the prince?" she mocked. Obianuju added with a sneer, "Maybe she's going to contest for Mad Woman of the Year. Just look at her. See her hair?" Neko walked up to Amora, grabbed her by the ear, and said, "I don't want to see your shadow in the palace. The prince is not looking for a girl like you. Stay here and mind your dirty chores." With that, she and her daughters left in grandeur, heading to the palace, their laughter fading into the distance. Amora sat on the ground, numb. Then her mind began to race. "I must go. I just must." Suddenly, like magic, the woman appeared again. But this time, she carried more than a drum. She had a basket full of beautiful clothes, perfume oil, beads, soap, and a fine wooden comb. Go and bathe, the woman said kindly. I'll wait. Amora obeyed. When she returned, clean and refreshed, the woman styled her hair into intricate braids, rubbed sweet-scented oil on her skin, and dressed her in a vibrant wrapper. She adorned her wrists and ankles with beads and handed her the talking drum. Why are you doing all this for me? Amora asked again, her voice full of wonder. The woman gently held her hand and looked into her eyes. You'll know soon enough. Now go, child. Let your light shine. Amora looked into the small mirror the woman handed her. She gasped. She didn't recognize herself. She looked like a princess. She turned and hugged the woman tightly. Thank you. Thank you. Go now, the woman whispered. I'll be watching. At the palace, maiden after maiden danced and sang. The prince sat quietly, his expression blank, unimpressed by the performances. Then, Amora arrived, her talking drum in hand. The crowd gasped, stunned by her glowing appearance. Who was this beautiful young woman? After all the other maidens had performed, Amora stepped forward. She played the talking drum with grace and precision, and then sang in her late mother's dialect. The sound echoed across the palace walls like a call from the ancestors. The prince, who had not smiled all day, leaned forward and smiled for the first time. He brought out his flute and joined her in music. When their performance ended, the palace fell silent for a moment. Then thunderous applause erupted. The people clapped, cheered, and rose to their feet. The prince turned to his father and whispered something into his ear. The Egui rose from his throne and raised his staff. My people, he declared, the prince has made his choice. He chooses the maiden with the talking drum. He chooses Amora as his bride. Cheers filled the air. Some wept with joy. Others simply stared in wonder. But from the back, a voice rang out, full of rage. She's a thief. Neka shouted, standing abruptly. She stole that drum and those clothes. She cannot afford them. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd. All eyes turned to Amora. The Egui raised his hand for silence and turned to the young woman. Amora, he said firmly, is this true? Before she could speak, a mysterious woman stepped forward from among the crowd. She wore a simple wrapper, but her voice carried strength and dignity. It's a lie, she said calmly. I gave her those clothes. I gave her the drum. Her stepmother has mistreated her since she was a child. She beat her, starved her, and even banned the last memory she had of her late mother. More murmurs erupted from the crowd. Several women stood up. She's telling the truth, one said. We've seen it with our own eyes. We tried to stop Neka, another added. But she wouldn't listen. She treated Amora like a slave. The Egui turned slowly to Neka, his face filled with disappointment. For lying before the king and for mistreating your stepdaughter, you shall serve here in the palace for 6 months. You will learn humility and kindness through service. The crowd erupted in cheers. The prince stood and took Amora's hand proudly. Obianuju and Ifioma, Neka's daughters, could not lift their eyes. Ikena, Amora's father, hung his head in shame. Later that evening, Amora found the mysterious woman behind the palace, near a quiet corner. Thank you, Amora said softly, tears welling in her eyes. I don't know how to repay you. The woman held her hand gently and looked into her eyes. Don't scream, she said, but I must tell you something important. Amora nodded slowly. I am your mother, the woman whispered. But my mother is dead, Amora replied with shock on her face. Yes, I died, but my spirit could not rest while you suffered. But now I can go in peace, knowing you're in a safe place. Tears poured freely down Amora's face. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She covered her mouth, overwhelmed by emotion. Her mother smiled softly, waved, and slowly vanished into the evening breeze like a fading dream. 2 days later, the palace was filled with music and joy. The wedding was grand and colorful. Amara was adorned in the finest coral beads, a flowing gown of silk, and a royal headpiece that sparkled like the stars. She danced, sang, and smiled throughout the day, her joy infectious. Ikenna, now humbled and full of regret, approached her. He knelt at her feet and begged for forgiveness. Amara forgave him, though the pain of the past still lingered in her heart. Her kindness touched many that day. As she sat beside the prince, her new husband, Amara looked up at the clear blue sky and whispered, "Thank you, Mama." From that day forward, the talking drum no longer sang of sorrow. It beat with joy, pride, and hope. And in the villages across the land, folk songs were sung about the brave girl who played the drum, married a prince, and was so deeply loved by a mother that not even death could keep them apart. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more amazing stories.